What's up? I'm Brianna Ivey, and this is the Hear From a Professional podcast. Brandon, what's up with you?
What's going on with you, twin?
What's going on, twin? So happy to have you as a guest here today. For the people who don't know you, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know your name, where you from, and what you do for a living.
So for all the people who don't know me, my name is Brandon Ivey. I am Brianna's little brother, and I am a Macon-Bibb County firefighter.
Turn me up, twin. All right. So you about 2 years into firefighting, right?
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna get into what it's like to be a firefighter, but first we're gonna go back a little bit. We're gonna go back in time, okay?
Okay.
Because you graduated from high school, the Central High School. All right. And you took a little bit of time to figure out, what you wanted to do, whether you wanted to go to school or whether you wanted to go, and do something else. So in that time, what was going through your mind? What were some of the thoughts you were having, some of the decisions you were making that led you to firefighting?
To be 100% honest with you, I had no thoughts or inkling or anything about being a firefighter. It's not an occupation I ever thought about having initially. I would say my decision was led by God. I was giving it some prayer, and I was praying one day. I had just quit my previous job, and I asked God to make my path plain. Whatever He wanted me to do, make it clear. And the moment I said Amen, it ended my prayer. Macon-Bibb County called me and asked me to come do an interview.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's how it went down. So it's definitely spirit led. I would have never thought about being a firefighter, but I think it's the greatest job ever. So
Hey, and how were you, I guess, staying encouraged throughout that process when you was trying to figure out, you was waiting on God to, show you your path before He told you? Like, how were you staying encouraged throughout that process?
um just just faith. Just continuous faith, because when you step out and you don't know what you're doing next, that's basically what faith is. When you don't know what's coming next, but you gotta believe in that next step. So that's really what it was, staying prayed up and having faith.
All right. All right, then we get into Macon-Bibb. They call you and you like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a firefighter. What was the process like to becoming a firefighter?
So the process is not it's not world ending, but it's a lot more work than a typical job. You go into an interview, it'll be a panel of people, not just one person. It'll be the fire chief, a couple other high ranking people. They'll interview you, you'll go through the process. If the interview is good, you go through a 2-part testing phase. You'll go through a physical test and then a mental test. So the physical test, you'll do some running and some of your other typical things, and then you'll do some other firefighter related things. You'll have to climb a ladder. I can't quite remember how high it was, but I'll just say 70 feet for all the viewers. You may have to carry some ladders and some hoses and things of that nature. A lot of things you wouldn't think are that heavy or that high until you start to do it. But once you finish that physical part, you'll take the mental part. They'll test your memory. They'll test a couple of other of your basic cognitive skills, how well you're able to understand stuff and apply it. They'll also test your mechanical altitude. So they'll show you some tools and give you scenarios and how would you use each tool. So you got the 2-part testing, but it's a little bit of an experience. It's about a 2 or 3 week process.
Yeah, how'd you feel climbing a 70-foot ladder?
Let me tell you, man, I didn't think I was scared of heights till I got up there, dog. The wind started blowing and it felt like the ladder bouncing up and down. I mean, if you're not scared of heights, I ain't gonna say that because I didn't think I was scared of heights. But if
Yeah,
you can if you can swallow the fear of being up that high, then
yeah, you'll be
you,
all right.
yeah, you learn to appreciate it. I try not to say fear because if you say you're scared of something, then it controls you. So I try to say I just respect the height. God gave me 2 strong legs, but He didn't give me wings. I can't fly.
Yeah, yeah. And then what was then you get through the process, you done did some of these physical things, some of these mental things. Then you become a firefighter. And I remember you had to go through this extensive training process. Talk to me a
Mhm.
little bit about the training process, some of your favorite parts of it, some of your least favorite parts of it, whatever you can say without, getting in trouble.
No, I can say most things. The training process is long. it definitely tests your discipline more than anything else. It's not like school where it's just an overload of work. If you got a little bit of discipline, it's possible. You'll spend about eight, maybe 8, maybe 9 hours a day at the training facility. Most of that day you'll spend it, working out outside, doing training exercises and things of that nature. And the other half of the day you'll spend in the classroom. They'll teach you how to fight fire, the correct way to fight fire, the science behind it, what you need in order to fight fire, what each tool that you carry on your truck to do, and so on and so forth. And as you go on, it starts to get harder. So you go from that first day to them, being real chill. You running half a mile to you in full gear running 2 or 3 miles, and then you coming back and taking the test over something you had 2 days of study for. So as it goes on, it gets a little bit more challenging, but overall, it's fun. If I had to say my favorite experience, it would just definitely be the experience of training. Because once you get out of training, it's work. But
Yeah.
when you're in training, you build bonds. You see those same people every day. Y'all have fun, and those people kind of stick with you. So as you get into your job and certain people get promotions, you might be best friends with Chief from training. So now you got a friend in a high place. So those people stick with you. You see them a lot at work. My least favorite experience, it's definitely called the Connex box. It's fun when you get done, but when you're in the moment, it's a lot. It's a small, real small box. You only got enough wiggle room to kind of do a little crawl or shimmy, and you got to get in full gear, breathing air. It's pitch black dark because it's inside of a shipping container. It's so crazy. I wish y'all could see it. And you got to crawl through it. It's like a maze. They can control doors on the inside. It's wires and chains hanging from the ceiling. Anything that you would experience in a house fire, they put it in there, and you gotta make your way out. And I did pretty good until I got to the end. I got caught on some chains in the ceiling. I tried to crawl backwards, and my oxygen tank, my air tank came unhooked. I couldn't breathe. I started panicking. It was cold black in there, man. But once they calmed me down a little bit, I realized the exit was literally right next to me. And that's why you do that type of training though, because you want to be able to control that side of your mind that has the fear, that fight or flight response. You want to be able to control that so that when you get out in the field, you can operate.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you came and told me about that black box. I was like, wow, shout out to you.
That's not one of my favorite experiences. It's
What
another thing you don't think you're scared of, suffocating until you get in there and the mask sticking to your face. You can't really move, and all of a sudden you claustrophobic.
yeah.
So it's tough, but it's fun.
Yeah. What was the most interesting thing you learned in like fire science? Because I think when people, I don't know, for me, when I think about like firefighters, I always think the physical part, but I don't think fully understood like, oh yes, you need to understand the science of fire. Because like when we see like firefighting portrayed, it's mostly the physical part of it, but the science is important too when you're in a life or death situation,
It is. Feel like that's a good time for a plug too. Valedictorian of my class, and
Come on,
my highest graded class was actually the fire science part of it. So
talk to him.
that's with a 96. I'd probably say the most interesting thing that I learned in fire science is that smoke is just incomplete combustion. And so when you're watching videos and you see like a house on fire and all of a sudden it blows up, it's called a flashover. And what happens is the temperature in the building gets so high that all the smoke and all the other contents ignite at the same time, causing like a quick reaction that looks like it's basically an explosion, but I just thought it was cool. So smoke is definitely flammable, people. Remember that. It'll take a lot for it to light, but it's definitely flammable.
But look at you, boy. Who'd ever know you were this smart?
Hey, I tried to tell you a long time ago.
Come on, man. Talk to him nice or don't talk to him at all.
Hey,
All
bro.
right, so boom, you graduated valedictorian, you went through this extensive training program, and now you are, what is it, private Ivy?
Private Ivy.
Private Ivy. So you private Ivy, what does a day-to-day, well, what does a day look like in the life of a firefighter when there is no call? You just at the station.
And that's the part that I tell people, it can be a really easy job or it cannot be. I like to say when I'm talking to people who don't know a lot about the job or rookies, this job is really like made to order. Like this isn't stuff that's going to be laid out in front of you every single day. The stuff you learn in training, but it's important to know it because when it's time to roll, it's time to roll. And if you don't know it, somebody's life is in danger or your own life is in danger because you don't know. But so my day to day without a lot of calls, every morning, if you would private, your day start off. And some officers, they cool. Your day will start off with first, you want to make sure all your equipment on the truck is in tip-top condition. You know how to operate it. You know what it does and everything. So you'll check out your medical bag. You check out your air tank. I like to check out my air tank first because that's your lifeline. Anytime you go into a house fire or anything, you can't do nothing without that tank. And if you in there and the tank malfunction for some reason, now you in a life or death situation. So I check out my tank every morning, make sure I got no air leaks, there's no visible damage. Then I check out my medical bag. That's what I need on medical calls, if anything happens. So I'll check out my AED in case we got to shock somebody. I'll make sure there's oxygen in my O2 tank and everything else. And then I'll start to check out all my other equipment, just make sure the axes aren't beat up and about to break. Make sure we got all our equipment, our backboards, all the radios got charged batteries in them, all the holes are in the proper position, and the entire truck, every piece of equipment has to be checked and made sure it's operating. And then once I get done with that, then I'll clean up the station. We clean up the whole station, everything you would do at home, mop, wash the dishes, wipe the counters down,
You clean
everything.
up at home, but I get
You know what? I left that to mom. What a great mom she was. But after we clean up, typically we try to be ready to work out by 8:30. So we report to work at 7:30. We try to do all that in an hour. And then if we can, no later than 9 o'clock, we're ready to work out. At my station, every station has different workouts for the day. Some do calisthenics and things, but at my station, station 2, we like to get out and run about 4 miles a day, about 4. And then after that, as a rookie, at about 2 o'clock, you're required to study. So I go out there and I'll study something. I don't have any certifications or things, so there's always something for me to study. But in those in between times, it's basically like being at home. Some stations say, you can't have the TV on until 1 o'clock, but you sit around, some stations have cards, checkers, Uno, you'll play games with each other. You learn to build camaraderie and brotherhood because these are the people you're gonna be risking your life with every day. Yeah, we ride around the city, we go to stores. Sometimes, we're close to downtown, we may just ride around. Um, so anything you would do at home pretty much, especially on weekends. On weekends, you consider off at 1 o'clock. And it's a lot less to do. You're not required to study. So sometimes we'll sit down and watch movies together, and sometimes we just all go to our own room. We'll all go to our own room, do our own thing until it's time to get into some action.
yeah. Nah, all right, you at the station, then do 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 do, then the bell go off.
What is that?
I'm not doing it no more. The bell go off. And then
Uh,
now it's time to spring into action. Do 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 do. Then what that look like?
so immediately I don't know what type of call we got. There are two different types of tones for every call. So there's more kind of like a longer tone. That'll be my fire call, and it's like a shorter, more like abrupt call. Those would be my medical call. So immediately I don't know what kind it is. We moving quickly to all calls. But over the radio, they give a description of the call. And for those that are a little bit more serious, we moving a little bit faster to the truck. The sense of urgency is higher. The sense of urgency is always high, but sometimes it's super high. So I don't know if it's a medical call. Um, our door, we got garage doors. Ours aren't automatic, so I'm opening the door. I'm jumping on the truck based off the call. I'll prepare myself in the things I need depending on what kind of call it is. If it's a fire call, I'm throwing my boots on and the bottom half of my gear. Then I'm opening the garage door. I'm finishing getting dressed on the truck.
Okay. And then if it's not a fire call, if it's like a medical call, you don't got to put the bottom half on.
No, I don't. If I'm in workout clothes or something like that for some reason, then yes, I can wear the top. The t-shirt is fine, but jogging pants and shorts are not okay. So you have to put your boots on.
Okay. And do you have to, even if it's a medical call, do you have to take everything with you like on the truck?
Yes, your gear is with you at all times.
Okay.
There are plenty of times you leave in one call, immediately get another one. And so
Okay.
you may go from a person down, unresponsive, or difficulty breathing to a structure fire, just
Okay.
that quick. So your gear is always with you, and if you leave it, you are subject to write up. I have learned that the hard way. I did not get written up, but I have definitely left my gear at the station and
Yeah.
tried to play it off. So you always want to make sure your gear is on the truck. That's a part of the morning checkoff, making sure
Okay.
your gear is on the truck and ready to go.
Yeah. When you guys are doing a medical call, do you normally beat the ambulance there?
Nine times out of ten, yes. If we
That's
don't
so
be,
interesting.
I know if we don't be the ambulance, it's because it was, we were out of our territory or something. But nine times out of ten, we be the ambulance.
Yeah, I before you told me that, I didn't even thank God I haven't had to call 911. But it didn't dawn on me that if you call 911, I guess everybody's coming. Like, how does that work? Because why do they send the fire people? Why they send the firemen and the ambulance?
Well, we'll go to medical calls because we got medical training, but anything outside our scope of practice, we'll leave to the ambulance. We kind of get there first, depending on the call. We'll prep them and get all the information that the ambulance will need:
Okay.
date of birth, age, previous medical history, symptoms, what's going on now, how long it's been going on. And if it's something that we can help initially, then we will, and then pass them off to the ambulance. But if not, some cases, if it's outside our scope of practice, we're there for support and mostly moving patients, because a lot of the time, medical fields and nurses, things that they tend to be female. So a lot of the time, the ambulance that'll pull up will have two females, and there'll be an adult male who's now unresponsive, and we got to pick them up. So our job can tend to be a lot of different things, but like you were saying, most medical 911 calls we come into, unless it's just something we're absolutely no help for, which is usually nothing. So we come in.
Right.
Any more violent crimes, if they're still in progress, such as like a shooting or a stabbing or something like that, we'll stage for BSO. So we probably will be the first one on scene again, but we'll park like a block away. We'll wait for the police officer to get there, and once they radio traffic that scene is safe, then we'll
Mm.
go in and do our thing.
Oh, okay, okay. And then also, so in training, you also have to learn some like medical
One
things as
hundred
well. Okay.
percent. And initially, now with training, they'll just go over the basics of what you need in terms of medical. And then once you get on the actual fire station, get online, that's what we call it. Once you get online, after about a year, well, not necessarily a year, but after you put some time in, they'll put you in an advanced medical training class and you'll take that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. What is something that you think you said quite a bit, but what's probably something that you think that people don't necessarily always associate with being a firefighter? Like, what's a part of the job that you think people would be absolutely shocked to know that you do?
Oh man, that's a good question. What usually get the kids when I have to give presentations is just the fact that we do everything.
Yeah.
Just about anything that you would call 911 for, we're there. Even public service. If your water heater busts, if you got a crack pipe or something like that, we going. I have been to a lot of crack pipes and water heaters. Just recently, I went to a church that was flooding because their water heater in the ceiling bust and the church was flooding. So just about anything you could, even if it's not a 911 call, you could call the station, we'll do it. If
Yeah.
a wedding ring gets stuck to your finger, we cut it off. Whatever you may need, if you come to the fire station, we probably can solve your problem.
Wow. Problem solvers. That's so
But we
good.
do.
Do you remember your first fire?
I do. My first fire had a fatality. It was
Wait,
an
pause. No, we don't have to talk about that. That's sad, Brandon.
it's you learn that it come with the job. You are labeled as a hero, but that don't mean you make every save. And it's not always because you did something wrong. Sometimes just you know that's just the way life is. So everything happens for a reason. So, but yeah, that was my first fire. It was an apartment building. My officer was laughing at me because we went in together. I kicked the door down. We go in the building.
Wait,
No,
wait, wait. Let's talk about this kicking of the door down. Because on
okay.
TV,
Uh-huh.
they be facing the door, they lift their foot up, and they kick the door. How does that actually go?
I mean, you can do that. It's not the most efficient way, and also depending on your leg strength, you may blow out an ACL. So I wouldn't recommend. Typically, what we do is we turn around and donkey kick it. We turn around and kick it. And this particular door, though, he had one of the things, the
Yeah.
burglar bars that you sit underneath your
Yeah.
uh, handle, and it pushes back so that nobody can get in. So when I was kicking it down, the door kind of folded in two pieces. The top half was still good because of the stopper,
Yeah.
and it folded up. But I ended up running through it. I kicked it and then I kind of busted through it. And then the fire was upstairs, so the entire downstairs was clear. It
Okay.
was perfect. Looked like nothing was going on. So I was in there with no tank and no mask. And this is my first fire. So also I don't have my gloves on. So we were searching downstairs, and we ended up clearing downstairs. Like, okay, you're not down here. We're gonna go upstairs. I go upstairs, no mask, no tank, no gloves, no nothing. I go up there, instantly start suffocating. I ran downstairs. I was like, hey, we gotta put a tank on. And then he was laughing at me. He was like, yeah, of course we do. It's a fire. And it was funny looking back on it, because now I would never do something so stupid, because you learn to pay more attention.
Yeah.
When you start to get those structure fights for the first time, your adrenaline so high, you get tunnel vision. If your goal is to put the fire out, all you know is nozzle in my hand, I'm going in here. You don't think about those other things. So now that I've had, some structure fires under my belt, I don't get tunnel vision as often. Sometimes I do, but not as often. But that was my first fire. It was definitely a wild one.
Talk to me about, I remember you were telling me one time about the mental fortitude and the mental battle with fear. Like when you're getting a fire call and you know you're about to go into a structure fire, how do you get your mental in the correct state to know that you have to control your mind and you have to be ready to go into this building, fight the fire, save the person, do whatever it takes to come out of the building and preferably with the victim, right? Alive. So like how do you get into the mental state that you don't let fear overtake you?
And that goes back into me saying that the job is kind of made to order. You got to know it when it's time to know it. So really, it just comes with training. You do a lot of scenario based training with your officers. What would you do in this scenario? What would you use? What tool is good for this? So when I get on the truck and I'm getting ready to go to that structure fire, my whole focus shift. It don't. I'm not thinking about nothing medical. I ain't thinking about what I'm about to eat tonight. I'm not thinking about what time the game come on. And I'm a Falcons fan. I don't care if the Falcons on. My mind 100% goes to not just what to do in this particular structure fire, but I'm running through every scenario, everything I might need to use. Does it work? Do I know where it is? If this happens, what do I do? If this happens, make sure you don't panic. This. It's about sticking to your training. Because when you go in there, your brain 100% is developed to protect you.
Yeah.
When you pinch yourself, your brain send that like out that hurt, pull back. So your brain is made to protect you. So when you go in there, you feel that heat, is pitch black dark. Your brain knows that what you're doing is dangerous. So your initial thought is, I shouldn't be in here. I need to be going the other direction. But if you train and you're focused, don't go in there lollygagging. You got to be focused. If you focus, you learn to control that and narrow down your thoughts to what needs to be done.
Mm.
And also just remembering that you're not just doing this for yourself, and not even just the victim, but you got people inside that building with you that also counting on you to make sure you know what you're doing and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot, but you definitely develop the mental fortitude on the job. I will say that the job is good about developing. Every station develop you in their own way. You
Mm-hmm.
got some officers that develop you through making you do it, and you learn the hard way. Like my officer just make you do it. Then you got some officers with you every single day. Every single day you'll train for about 2 or 3 hours, like they do at headquarters. So every station develop you in a different way, but by the time you get to a structure fire, you'll be ready to go. And if you're not, they won't let you go. If they feel like you're not ready, they're gonna give you some grunt work or something. They're gonna say, hey, go make sure the tools are off the truck. And they'll
Yeah.
ask somebody else to get the nozzle and go in. Because one thing they always tell you from training to the day you probably retire, if you're scared, if you're unsure, anything other than 100% positive, don't go. If you're getting up on a roof, you feel like the roof is spongy and soft, and you saying, hey, it might fall in, don't do it. If you get to that building, you're looking at the way it's structured, where the rooms are placed, and you say, hey, I ain't never seen a building with a layout like this. I'm not comfortable. Don't go in, because you can't save anybody if you got to save yourself. So if you're not ready, if you're not, just hold out. Ain't nobody gonna judge you, because they say this, and it sounds bad to the victims and the consumers, but your safety comes first, because if you're not safe, you can't save anybody.
Yeah.
You can't help anybody. So
But we out here doing things.
I try to. I try to.
Look at you go. So we talked about, so you gotta have quick problem solving skills in a fire.
Yeah.
Quick problem solving skills when you want to call. You got to be able to control your mental. You have to be, what do mama like to say? You have to make your mind submit. That's what it is.
Yes.
So that you
Mhm.
Don't put yourself or anybody else in a dangerous situation. You're already in a dangerous situation, but you can make it worse by not, being focused and being disciplined in your thoughts. So that's in a fire scenario, right? In a firehouse where it's just the people, what kind of challenges do you face and how do you overcome those?
The main two challenges is something that I tell every rookie who's just come on. Number one, learning how to work with those other personalities because 98% of the fire station are men, and that's probably in most cases. And with men, we all got these different dominant personalities. All the personalities are different, but they tend to be dominant. Some are more subtly dominant, and some are just all the way in your face dominant. So you definitely learn how to deal with other people 100% because at the end of the day, whether you like who you station with or not, you got to go risk your life with this person. So it has to be some kind of trust, camaraderie, and bond. And something that I was going to mention a little while ago is the fact that while it is dangerous and you always have to know what you're doing, there is a certain level of comfort too, knowing that everybody around you is so well trained. If you get
Right.
into a situation, if you hit, there's an emergency button on your gear that sends out a really loud noise. If you do hit that, you'll have 20 firefighters pouring in from every window who know exactly what they're doing and how to get you. It'll be everybody's top priority. So it's nice. But the other thing that I tell rookies when they coming on with being at the firehouse and some of the challenges is everybody love to have a stereotype that women talk a lot. Let me tell you something. Men talk just as much, big dog, if not more. So if there's something at the station you don't want said, you don't want, just listen. You can be friends with people at the station, but all your business ain't everybody business. And that's for every firefighter. Everything ain't got to be said, everything ain't got to be known. Those are and they may just be my little Macon-Bibb city, but
Yeah.
those are the two things that I tell rookies when they come on with the station life. And
Yeah.
make sure you're on top of everything. Don't ever expect an officer to be cool. Not to say they don't ever expect it.
Yeah.
Give your officer a chance to be cool. When you come on, you do everything right and you do it by the book until you told otherwise. And when you got a cool officer, they'll come up to you, they'll say, "Hey, I really appreciate the way you're doing that. I like that. I like the respect you showing. But I want you to know that when you come in here, you don't have to do it this way. It's okay for you to do it this way. I'm not gonna trip on you. But you'll have some officers you come in and you think you're gonna have behind something to do it a certain way, and they're like, "Nah, you ain't gonna do it like that. You're gonna do it like this, or you're gonna come get this paperwork." So don't ever expect your officers to be cool. Just give them the chance to be cool. Do everything the right way, and you'll never be wrong.
Period. Come on, good advice. God. He said, hey, if you look around, the messiest person you know is probably a what? A man. Okay, great. Next question.
That's a whole other podcast, dog. That's a whole other podcast, dog.
You talked about the good relationship you have with your lieutenant. Talk about mentorship in the firefighter world. Like, is it important? Is it necessary? How far does it go? Like, how should you find it?
Man, it's probably one of the most important things you can have, especially on a job like this, because a lot of the things when you're coming on, you never experienced, you don't know. It's a lot of things that are going to be in a firefight. I mean, even socializing, the way you carry yourself around officers and things of that nature. Having a mentor is super important. My officer is an excellent mentor. He never hesitates to teach me anything, and a lot of the time he's playing ahead of the game because he's teaching me things, telling me things that I need to know at a later date. And then they come up and I'm like, well, I didn't already been taught about this, so I'm good. So it puts me ahead of the curve in a lot of areas. Finding a great officer to mentor you is important. How you will go about finding them is don't go look for one. A good officer, a good person will come over. He'll notice you putting in the effort. He'll notice what you're doing. He'll come over. He'll speak to you, and then he'll start slowly giving you advice. He ain't gonna give you everything off the rip, but he'll come over to you. He'll say, "Okay, just remember that when you go report off in the morning, I don't make a big deal about it, but make sure you got your belt on, or make sure you got this on. Make sure you're doing this when you come to work. Even just the small stuff. When I first came on, my officer, he gave me a bag. It had soap, razors, washing powder, everything that I would need for the station. He'll tell me what people to talk to, what people not to talk to, and things of that nature. So finding an officer who can mentor you is probably one of the best things you can have once you make it to line.
Absolutely great. Mentorship is great. And then it can like expand. I feel like when you have good mentors, like the lessons just expand outside of like the workplace,
They do.
like
They do.
discipline, yes, for workplace, but then like you carry those things with you into like life outside of wherever you work, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
He's definitely taught me to, do the small things because I'm good about doing the big things and not even noticing the small things. Like I may cut the grass and I'll just leave the lawnmower sitting in the garage, but he'll make me spray it down and put it up. But it just teaches you, yes, to do the small things, but also just take pride in everything you do. And when you carry yourself and do things a certain way, and people start to respect you a certain way. Me doing something small like that, the next man walking by, Brandon, I always take care of business. I ain't never got to go behind him and check. I ain't never got to look for nothing. I can leave Brandon be. If I ask him to do something, it's gonna be done the right way. So yeah, it's super important. You learn a lot of lessons with a good mentor. I won't even say a good officer, a good mentor that you can take off the job, on the job, in your relationship, wherever you need to apply it.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm thankful for your good mentors. Shout out to them.
There you go.
Uh
Yes, sir.
Come on, LT. Talk to me about work-life balance. Like, what is the work-life balance of a firefighter? Because you don't work an 8-hour day like I do.
The work-life balance, it's just as good as you want it to be, honestly.
Okay.
There's a work-life balance. I don't think that there's a better job. I mean, it gets challenging if you got kids and things of that nature, but that's any job. Our schedule is 24 hours on, 24 hours off. You repeat that cycle 3 times, and then you'll have a full 4 days off,
Okay.
4 days in a row. So that's so much free time that a lot of the other firefighters that I work with have second jobs or own a business or something because, I mean, there's so much free time. It kind of is what you make it. And overtime is always available. Well, for my situation at least, it's always available. But of course, you can spread it out where, on that 4 day, you just continue the same pattern of on 24, off 24.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I choose to do sometimes, you can work 48-hour shifts, 72-hour shifts, so you can knock out however many shifts you want in your payroll. But I mean, it's a job that really does leave you plenty of time to do what you want to do outside of work. So, I mean, even just, the station life is so cool, like being at home. Your
Yeah.
family is welcome to come visit, eat with you at the station, do things of that nature if you want to. Um, of course, there's like curfew rules, what time people can visit or what time you can be outside. I
Yeah.
believe for most stations, it's 9:30, 10. And some stations do when it's get dark, but they're still allowed as long as they come in the station. But then I believe all company has to be gone by like 10:15, 10:30. So work-life balance is as easy as you make it.
Mhm. Yeah. Was there ever a time you was doing a job and then you thought like, I don't know if I want to do this no more?
Like a previous job?
No, like as a firefighter. Have you
Oh,
always loved it, or have you ever been like, nah?
no, I've always loved it. From the day I started, I was like, this is gonna be my job. This is sweet. This
Okay.
is candy. Will I always be at Macon-Bibb? That's another podcast. But for this podcast purposes, I love my job. I'll probably retire here, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
All right. What's your favorite thing about being a firefighter?
Man, my favorite thing about being a firefighter. I mean, honestly, I can't even just put it on one thing. It's just the job itself, man. It's a fulfilling job. You're a hero in the community. The kids love you. They want to see the truck and get toy hats. You go out, you save people, the thank yous, and we get stopped in Kroger all the time when we just buying something for the station. Hey man, I appreciate what you do. Having the time at the station, you making friends at the station. Everything about it is just a great job. I can't complain, man. My favorite part about being a firefighter is being a firefighter.
So you don't have a least favorite part of being a firefighter?
My least favorite part can also be my favorite part. It's the people, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are hard to deal with, hard to manage. Everybody don't always come in having a good day.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't always, the kind of person that you station with. You may end up working with somebody who don't even want to talk to you. So
Yeah.
the people can make it rough sometimes, make the day feel like 2 or 3 days when you up there all day.
Yeah.
So that would be the only downside that I could even think of with this job.
Okay. What do you think being a firefighter has taught you about yourself?
I wouldn't admit it this before, but I will now that I was lazy. You know, being around good men, you see the and he didn't even well, you know, when we were in front of my officer, he didn't even have to tell me, but just watching the way that they do things, they carry themselves, the way they execute things, it shows you a lot about yourself. And I hate to say shortcomings, but it shows you a lot of the areas that you need to improve in. You
Mhm.
know, even if it's something that you good at, they may be good at it too, but you'll work with that person who's just so good about something that you're not good at, and you can just watch them and just take bits and pieces of what they do. So that's probably what I would say.
Yeah. You know, it made me think about how mom always talk about like our friends and the people that we surround ourselves with and how much of an impact. Because I think like to your point, until you see certain things, you don't even realize how much the people around you can impact you, like impact how you think, how
Everything.
you talk. Like you don't even realize that until you see it like in that way and you able to
Down.
pinpoint and say, oh my goodness, look at how they're doing that thing. And then when you're surrounded by so many people that's doing so many good things, it's like, wow, I can improve in this and be better about this. And it just kind of helps you elevate.
I mean, down to the smallest detail, even outside of the job, just watching the way that some of my officers like take phone calls from their loved ones, how they speak to them. I'm like, well, last time I spoke to my sister or my girlfriend, I didn't have that tone. Or, you know, if I felt some type, I didn't respond. You know, just down to the smallest detail, you pick up on things that you can really learn
Yeah. So
from.
that's good. Being surrounded by good people is such a great thing. It's such a great blessing. Um, what is one area you're hoping to grow in your career?
Right now, my number one goal is definitely the medical side of training. I want to get my EMT. Depending on how EMT is, I might take it a little bit further. I definitely want to ride the back of an ambulance for a little while. So
Yeah,
I definitely look forward to learn a little bit more on the medical side. I have to get okay sticking people because you know I'm not the biggest needle fan, but
yeah, I know.
I think it's something that I can overcome mentally.
Yeah. Ooh, we. I won't tell the people your business, but remember that
Don't
time
do
you
it.
did that
Don't do
shot?
it. Don't do it.
What what other type of trainings are there? Like you talk about medical, like is there a training for people who want to drive the truck? Like what other type of trainings are available to a firefighter?
I mean, as far as training goes, they got so many different trainings. You can go as far as you want to take it in a lot of different fields. I mean, they got training down to search and rescue. So, you know, if a building were to collapse or something like that, they got advanced training for how to lower yourself down through a manhole or some kind of cave system if you got to do a rescue. They got trainings for hazmat. I got my hazmat ops. So, you know, uh,
Come on, Ops.
dangerous chemicals. It's a training for just about everything. Driving training. I'm currently working on my driving training, so it's a lot of different trainings out there. I know eventually I'm gonna have to get my ARF. That's for the airport. If a plane was to catch on fire, because you know that's jet fuel, which would
Yeah.
be different than if a car caught on fire. There's advanced extrication classes for cutting people out of cars or using airbags to lift 16 wheelers. So it's a lot of different trainings.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have a career goal? Like, in I don't know how many years I can see myself doing X, Y, and Z or being X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Right now, my current career goal is I believe that I want to be a fire investigator. So they're always on call. They'll come to every single structure fire. They'll come in, investigate, make sure there's no foul play or anything like that. They can look at the burn pattern, the way something burned. They can look at where the way the smoke pattern is on the wall, and they can tell you, you know, what was burning or what kind of fire it was. And I do believe a lot of them are mandated police officers. So if there's an arsonist and they need to investigate or, you know, try to authorize an arrest or whatever the case may be. So I think that's the path I want to take right now.
That sounds very cool. You see so many things as a firefighter. Like
You
I would
do.
never know.
You do.
Yeah. Gotta keep your mind. How do you keep your mind like in a good place? Because I imagine like it's easy to get, I don't know, like overwhelmed or,
Mhm.
maybe even sad. So like how do you keep your mind, how do you keep yourself uplifted, your mind and your spirit?
That's a good question. Definitely always stay prayed up 100%. But I mean, outside of that, my mindset is just kind of Doing my job. It comes with the job.
All right. We're going to pivot into some questions that might make you use your imagination just a little bit more. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, boom, you're playing, I don't know, you're in charge of a game or something, and you get to you are building the greatest firefighter of all time. The
Okay.
greatest. There will go down as the greatest firefighter ever known to man. What are the top 3 qualities that you are putting in this firefighter? You're building them like that guy built the Powerpuff Girls. He just pouring stuff in the cup.
My top 3.
Yeah.
Bravery,
Right.
humility.
Okay.
And for that last one, I would say attentive.
That's good. At first I was gonna say 5, but I felt like it was too easy, so I gave you 3.
Yeah, three was a good number.
Yeah.
You got to be brave because you run into a burning building.
Yeah.
And we don't need no outstanding firefighters. Outstanding in the yard. We don't need those. You can't do no. Definitely have some humility because you don't know everything. And if you come on the job acting like you know everything, you either gonna mess up with a patient or it's just a lot of things that could go wrong if you come on trying to know everything. So be humble enough to learn from somebody else, somebody who's done this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then attentiveness because you definitely got to pay attention to everything you're doing, down from handling your station duties to pulling up to that structure fire and remembering it's a window up there on the second floor. You paid attention to that. So now if you up there on the second floor, you got a victim, you need to make a quick get out or whatever. You remember, okay, I can feel I'm on this left wall. I know it's a window right here because I saw it when I was pulling up.
Wow, that's good. What's a show that you've seen that has most accurately depicted the experience of a firefighter? Because when I talk to you about my show, you be like, we don't do that, or we don't do that.
Most accurately depicted.
Yeah.
The only one that I've watched is Fire Country. Like actually really watched. And maybe that's how I go in California, but God dog. I don't be doing that like that often.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't really seen one yet.
Okay. Would you watch them or would you be like, no? Because sometimes when I talk to Jalen about lawyer shows, she'd be like, I don't want to watch lawyer shows really because they don't be accurate like they
Yeah.
be.
It definitely depends on the accuracy of it. If it's too far fetched enough, like if it's just too crazy, then I was like, this not.
Okay.
But Fire Country was decent. They had moments where I could see what was going on.
Yeah.
I understood what was going on. So yeah, Fire Country was okay in that regard.
Okay. If you could choose any fictional character or celebrity to be your coworker, they running in that fire with you. They at the firehouse with you all day if you don't got a call. Who you choosing?
Can I choose Batman?
You can't. That's not who I thought you was gonna choose, but you can choose Batman if you like.
Who you thought I was gonna choose?
I thought you was gonna choose Thor, but Batman has the attentiveness. Thor doesn't have the attentiveness. So
I said Batman because I just think he would be great on calls, and I would learn a lot from him. Like so stoic, so smart, always know what he's doing. I feel like I would learn a lot. But just station life probably would be more like Thor. Or maybe somebody I've always wanted to pick their brain like The Rock.
Yeah, these are people I thought you would pick.
Yeah, I would love to pick The Rock brain.
Yeah. What about you could choose any character, celebrity or fictional character to be your lieutenant?
Oh, Batman. That changes the whole question. Batman. 1,000% my lieutenant.
All right. You used to tell me about a show called Fire Force.
Yeah, that's my show.
You're a firefighter. So if you could pick any character's like ability in Fire Force, whose would it be?
Oh man, that's good. There's a lot of good powers in Fire Force. Man, do I want to pick the most powerful character? Man, that's a good question. Why you want to tap into this anime side of me? You know how I get about just so I don't have to think too long, I'm gonna go Benny Marvel. He's the most powerful person in Fire Force. He has if you ever watch Fire Force, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this, but he has the power of a second gen and a third gen power kinetic. So he can control and manipulate flames.
Okay. If you could take all of go ahead.
Keep going and create them, but keep going.
If you could take all of your skills, knowledge, and abilities as a firefighter and go into any fictional universe, what fictional universe would you go into?
Any fictional universe. Any fictional universe. Fire Force.
Fire Force? I should have asked that question first.
Because I'm already a firefighter, man. Like,
Yeah.
Fire Force, it's a great show. It's definitely a twist on being a firefighter
Yeah.
for more action anime.
Yeah.
But if anybody who hasn't watched it, it's a great show. I recommend if you like action-packed anime.
Yeah. I think it's so wild that you like that show way before you ever even finished
Yeah,
high school to even thinking about being a firefighter for real.
that show is
Talk
amazing.
about foreshadowing. Um, Firefighters are basically heroes, right? What's your hero name? Brandon the firefighter. What's his hero name?
What's my hero name? My hero name is always the same, man. If I was a hero, my name would be Atlas.
Atlas. Tell me why.
Atlas is a Greek god. Excuse me if my mythos is off, but I believe he's a Greek god. He was a Titan, and he was punished to hold the weight of the world. And as a young man, you often feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. Everybody wants you to be a certain way. And so Atlas was always my hero name because he holding up the weight of the world. So
Mhm. Atlas. Atlas the firefighter. Wow.
yeah.
Um, I'm gonna open the floor here for you for the last two questions. The first question is, what advice would you give someone maybe coming out of high school and they just don't know what they want to do? They feel like either everybody on their back or everybody done gave up on them and they're just trying to figure out, man, what direction I'm supposed to be going in. What advice would you give them?
I would give them the advice to take some time to don't take some time to yourself. Don't get advice from anybody, not your mama, not your sister, not your cousin, your brother, your auntie, maybe, or anybody in between. Just take some time to yourself. If you work, just go to work, turn your phone off. If you don't work, and just find what make you happy, find what you want to do. And when you go into this solitude of looking for what you want to do in life, keep in mind that you're gonna have to sacrifice. I feel like when you come out of high school, the world just hits you so quick, and you're expected to be an adult, and in your mind, the adult got everything figured out, got everything handled, and you're not used to working that hard. But just remember that things are gonna change. Okay, you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to do certain things. I don't know. That's a tough one, but definitely take some time to yourself and understand that it's time for change. I think that's the biggest thing. It's time for change. And you're gonna have to figure out that change on your own. Your mama can't tell you that change, how to go about it, or what to do. No, nobody can tell you. You got to figure out on your own. So I hope that was good advice to somebody.
Is there ever a point where it stops being a thing of solitude, or is it?
Um, I think at some point it has to be a thing of solitude because you can be steered in. It doesn't have to stay a thing of solitude, but it has to be one at some point. You can be steered in any direction by anybody. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what kind of man or woman you want to be. And what does this man or woman do to provide? What does this man or woman do and how do they carry themselves? So at some point, it's gonna be up to you to make that decision.
Combining what you said just now, what you said at the beginning, taking some time where it's really just you and God, and y'all just figuring it out without the outside noise for the people who,
100%.
because at the end of the day, I guess that's the best outside noise to have is just you and God. That is the outside noise. Last question: what advice would you give to somebody who knows they want to be a firefighter? Like they getting ready, they like, man, I'm excited about this. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to start tomorrow.
Mental discipline. Mental discipline. The fire department is paramilitary, so it's kind of like a step down from the military, but a lot of the same qualities. It's rank based. The training is going to be vigorous, and you got to have mental discipline. A lot of the training that you do is a lot more mental than physical. You know, you're going to be in shape to the point where you can run a couple miles in a row. But are you willing to go outside and run with gear when they don't tell you how far you're running? Are you willing to go into that burning building when you don't know where that person is? Do you have the mental discipline to, come in there and walk over to this body that they say been dead and do CPR? It's the mental discipline. So just make sure you got mental discipline and stay focused if you want to be a firefighter. It's gonna be plenty of time for fun in between, I promise. You're gonna have so much time, you're gonna know what to do. But when it's time to work, when it's time to go, you got to have the mental discipline. When you take those trainings, when you take those classes, when you get ready to go on these calls, you got to be focused.
Yeah. Mental discipline for the firefighter. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me today and tell me about the life of a firefighter. I would just like to say I am very proud of you. Okay. It's so fitting that you became a firefighter. It just
Is
fits your
it?
whole personality, the way you thought you were a hero all your life anyway, even before
Auntie
you
said
had
the
done
same thing.
anything, huh?
I said, Auntie said the same thing.
Yeah, you mean the way you used to walk around like you was just the best thing since sliced bread and had
I feel it.
done everything. Didn't even take the trash out that day. But now I feel like it's just so fitting. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of the young man that you are and
Thank
that you out here doing your best every day to keep other people safe. Thank you for your service.
thank you.
Uh, I love you so much. And thanks for chatting with me, boy. Twins.
Yeah, anytime, man, anytime. Hey, look, y'all like and subscribe for part two, homie.
Appreciate that, twin. I'm out. Bye.